Hello, continuing on with Alice A. Bailey's book, Esoteric Psychology, Volume 1. We're on Chapter 2, the beginning of Chapter 2, Certain Questions and Their Answers. I'm excited about this part because it answers some big questions. First, what is the soul and its nature? What is the origin, goal, purpose, and plan of the soul? Can the fact of the soul be proved? Of what value is it to study the rays? And what is the meaning of sentiency, consciousness, or awareness, energy, or light? But the sections get pretty long, so my goal is to break it up at places that really kind of make sense and attack it in smaller chunks because, again, some of the sections are quite long. And I've had a little bit of vino, so I'm thinking in a British accent, and it's making me want to talk in a British accent, but I'm hoping I don't do that. But please bear with me if if I just take on an accent all of a sudden. But let's do it. The first section is kind of like an introduction, and then we start the questions. So here we go with that. Chapter 2, Certain Questions and Their Answers. I indicated that in this treatise, we would give our main attention to the central one of the three aspects and would concentrate upon quality. What do I mean by this? I mean that we should occupy ourselves with that which is emerging through the medium of form, with that which veils or hides itself behind the appearance, which is expressive of life or spirit, and which is produced through the interplay of life with matter. This, when posited of a man, the reflection of divinity, and when applied to the subject of his quality, involves the three recognitions. First, that a human being is, as earlier said, an embodied life, expressing quality and registering that quality in consciousness, or as sensitive response to the interplay going forward during the evolutionary process between spirit and matter. Second, that man, being a synthesis, and the only complete synthesis except the macrocosmic deity, registers a self-recognition which is impotent enough to enable him to differentiate reactions to A, the triplicity, as the Bhagavad Gita calls it, of the knower, the field of knowledge, and knowledge. B, a growing realization that the field of knowledge is but an appearance or an illusion, that knowledge itself can be a hindrance unless transmuted into wisdom. To know and not to do is not to know at all. All right? Wisdom for the sake, knowledge for the sake of knowledge is not wise. We have to act upon it. We have to internalize it, and we have to be an example of that which we know and express it outward, right? Living as a soul. And C, an evolutionary growth and responsiveness to one or other of these three, and which indicates a developing sensitivity. This is leading to a growth of interest in the knower and to a belief that this knower is the soul, one with deity, illimitable and eternal, and in time and space, the determining factor in human existence. 3, that the endless diversity of forms hides a subjective synthesis. Man can therefore eventually see, expressing itself through all forms in all kingdoms, a universal septenate, a seven-part thing. And when this happens, he is then entering into the world of subjective unity and can proceed on his way consciously towards the one. He cannot as yet enter into the consciousness of that basic essential unity, but he can enter into that of his own ray life, of the emanating source of his own temporarily specialized life. This triplicity of ideas requires careful study. It might be expressed thus. And there's a little chart with little zeros, dots, and right, whoa, here. Should not be doing this. The first one is the one life, unity. Then it goes into the three, which is the major three rays, which then divides itself into the four, which is the minor four rays, and that four and that three make the seven, which then goes back into the unity of appearance, which is back into the one. With the one life, we shall not concern ourselves. We accept it as a basic truth, and we realize that we are on our way back from the unity of form-identified existence through the varying unfoldments of a conscious response to divine interplay and activity, to a final identification with the one life. Form awareness has to give place to the qualified radiation of the self-conscious spiritual identity, which is that of a son of God appearing through form. This will be finally superseded by two phases of expression, wherein there is 1. A sense of divine synthesis of which our bodily well-being is the lowest form of material, yet symbolic reflection. It is a sense of coordinated blissful satisfaction based on realized being. And second, a withdrawal from even this life awareness to a phase still more intensive and detached, which involves an awareness of the life of God itself, free from form, but still in a mysterious sense aware of quality. In the language of mysticism, it might be expressed this way. I take a body, that body is alive. I know its life, I therefore know my mother. I use a body, that body is not me. I serve the group, and in this serving, live within the body, detached, a son of God. I know myself. I infuse a body. I am its life, and in that life shall I see life. That life is known as love. I am the love of God. I know the Father, and know his life is love. I am the body and its loving life. I am the body and its loving life. I am the self whose quality is love. I am the life of God himself. The Mother, Father, Son am I. Behind these three there stands the unknown God. That God am I. Sorry, I'm also getting over a cold, so I'm a little nasally too. Let us be perfectly clear, even at the expense of reiteration. In this treatise, though we may touch upon form and consider its nature, we shall lay emphasis upon self-consciousness as it expresses itself, as responsiveness, as awareness of a peculiar kind, which we call the quality of consciousness, or its inherent characteristic. We have always the subsidiary triplicities, which are only adjectival terms employed to express the quality of the appearing life. Form is mutability, conscious response to radiation. It's matter. Self-consciousness is responsiveness. It's the awareness of identity, soul. And life is immutability, emanation, cause, source, and spirit. The synthesis of all these in manifestation we call God, the isolated, the all-pervading, the detached, and the withdrawn. The above abstract truths are difficult of apprehension, but need here to be expressed so that our platform is understood and we are not open to the criticism that we neglect reality and regard diversity as the only truth. We shall now answer 5 questions that I have formulated and answered for the reader. And I'll continue the next video with that question. Question 1, what is the soul? Can we define it? What is its nature? Alrighty, thanks for watching this one. It doesn't really have too much meat in it. We'll get to the good part in the next video. Yeah, see you in just a second. Take care.